Hello. It is day 3 of my podcast. I'm Rebecca Nichols. This is my podcast Road Treats, but I'm doing a special 12 days of podcasting to celebrate 12 days of Christmas. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It is day 3. It is 10:30 at night, and so I'm a bit late recording today. I've been in a very creative zone. So yesterday we spoke about the creative chakra and how that's really important. But I also felt I needed to execute a lot today. So that was all about the solar plexus, and we're going to be talking about that. Day 1 we spoke about the root, and you can obviously go back, guys, and you can check through the podcast if you're missing any. It is good that you do listen to them in order. So if you're just coming on today and this is the first time you're hearing me or hearing this podcast, go back 2 days and start from the beginning. There are 45-minute long podcasts. But, really good stuff I'm sharing with you because I want you guys to get it. It's deep knowledge and understanding of self, which I think we all need to know as human beings on this planet. Knowing self is really a lot to connected to this chakra today. So when we're speaking about the solar plexus, we're really thinking about who we are as a being. And so the symbol for the third chakra is a triangle facing down. So this is the fire wheel, and it's associated with the sun and the ego. Yeah. An overactive energy will result in a lot more ego in this chakra, and we'll talk about overactive energy later. But this is centered for digestion, and so blockages in your digestion will be a blockage in this chakra. Again, I will talk about illnesses and blockages a little bit more later. This is the center associated with your personal power and having a positive self-image. How you perceive yourself. This is about self-esteem, darling. So it's not about anyone else. It's not about the relationship you have with other people. It's not about what others think. And it is about how you think and feel about yourself and what you execute based on how you feel. So this is really thinking about your core desires, feelings and emotions, which I've been thinking about today. And I'm creating some content around desires and core desires and feelings, and around metaphysics and unseen and faith and manifestation. So my program is coming out on New Year's Eve. It's called Live Like Royalty. Now, 3 years ago, you may have known or might not have known, it's actually 3 years ago. Yesterday, I manifested £1 million on lottery. Amazing, obviously life-changing, but what I've learned since then is who I am, who as a being, my potential as a being. See, money can't buy you happiness, because even with £1 million, I was still miserable, and I was still dealing with a lot of issues and how I felt about myself and what I could achieve and what I believed I could achieve as a being. And I've proved to myself this year, and it was all about relationship with self. It wasn't about anybody else, and it's not about validation, and it's not about approval as such, but it's also kind of like really having this sense of self-achievement and clapping for your damn self. So I hope that you can execute a lot in 2018, Queens, and that you can really align with who you are, really start making plans, because this is all about action taking in this chakra. Now, the third chakra even is the center of intelligence and also of chi. The focus of consciousness in the first chakra is solidity, stability, and form, matter. Now, the focus of the consciousness in the second chakra sees the evolution of awareness of another outside of self, giving rise to choice, desire, and sexuality and emotions, thus movement. So we have the mixture of matter and movement. Now, the third chakra is the mixture and matter of movement to create energy. So when we're talking about personal power, will, and transformation. Nothing happens without the first two chakras. But this is where we have the explosion. Now, the element is fire, which makes sense because we're dealing with power. When we're thinking about fire, we're thinking about who we are as human beings on this planet, and how fire has been a big, massive part of our existence and evolution of humans. Power is very important. And so in our age of power, fire is important. In our age of power has been taken to extreme levels of control. So we're in a Kali age right now, and we're moving away from the aggression, wars and violence, believe it or not. I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but we are moving into the heart chakra, where we enter an age where we'll be using that power. And I've talked about this in other podcasts, and it's something that we talk about when I'm coaching my clients and students that are on my programs. It's all about being aligned with love, always. It's okay to be powerful. In fact, I want you to be really powerful, but I want you to align that power with love. So tomorrow we'll be talking about the heart chakra, and I'll be talking more about how we can really show up to this world, show up to our lives with power, but with love. Now, the concept of power will be reassessed as our consciousness evolves upwards. And I think we are really evaluating more about our power. And you've got more people in places of power who are using their power for good and contributing to the world. More awareness and more, solidarity and coming together as humans, where we're kind of giving and contributing and having that awareness of contribution rather than a self-centered desire to achieve, which is kind of like very much ego. And so when I'm sitting with my desires, my emotions, my intentions, and I'm thinking about the core feelings of what I want to create and why I want to create it, and what is it based at? Is it a fear-based? It means, is it ego-based, or is it love-based? Am I doing it for financial gain? Am I doing it because this is just all about me and my needs and my desires? Or is it for the greater good of the world and mankind, community, and helping other people? So when you think about the work that I do, my focus is solely on improving and raising the consciousness. And my goal is to empower women. And actually, that was what I sat on a beach nearly 2 years ago in Mexico. I sat there. I bought the domain name Queen of My Life London. It was New Year's Day, and I sat on that beach. I had an argument with my mum. Nothing new. And she went off where she said, just leave me alone for the day, because I just need to be here in this space. I need to figure out who I am. This is New Year's Day. I don't want to be with you. I want to be with my own thoughts. I really want to think about who I am as a human being. I really want to sit down and create something today that my future self is going to be proud of. And 2 years on, I'm here. I'm with you. We're on a podcast. There's nearly some 19,000 followers on the Instagram. An email list that's growing. Some big things happening in 2018. The book's coming out, The Journey to Queendom. It's been a long time coming. Feels like it, but, it's coming out next year. I'm writing my second book. I've got the YouTube channel starting in January, so you'll get to see me on the YouTube once a week. I'll be doing those. I'll be doing more podcasts for you guys. It's all about me serving. It's never been about me. I share my story because I believe it's powerful, but I'm trying to take the emphasis off me and put it more onto you and get you to think about who you are as a powerful being, as a powerful woman, right? Now, in the third chakra, we reach deep into sense of self. Deep, deep, deep. Who are you? And I wrote that ebook, Who Are You, at the beginning of the year. When I was in Thailand, I was in Cambodia, and I was in a real creative space. I wrote most of the Journey to Queendom in that space as well. Because a deep sense of self will help you move forward in life. Because you'll be like, yes, this is who I am. This is what I'm here to do. And you hold that vision as well of who you are, and you just execute. Execution is sexy. Being ambitious is sexy, and I love that there are ambitious women in the world, but execution. That's real sexy. And so I want to see more women act on those creative ideas, act on those desires, act on those emotions and feelings, and really get to the core of who you are. So, and here we are, from the foundation of our first chakra, through the ebb and flow of emotions, desires, we are evolving. In this chakra, we shape and direct these emotions and desires. We expand our growth with our consciousness. So this is the chakra of power, action and will. And it also relates to metabolism. So the element of this chakra corresponds to fire. More fire. Which we talked about. I told you it's all about the fire. It's all about that. And I'm actually Danielle Laporte Firestarter facilitator. So I use a lot of her techniques in my coaching as well. And I love her book, The Firestarter Sessions. If you haven't read it, it's really great getting you to think about who you are and how you can execute and how you can use that energy of this chakra to really start to transform areas of your life. So fire transforms the elements of earth and water into fire, into action, energy and power. Energy creates energy. Yeah. Color yellow, opposite violet, sense sight, no E, and glands pancreas. Essential oils that really work well with this chakra are lemon, lemongrass, ginger, love ginger, black pepper, peppermint and rosemary. So think about stimulating, energizing, uplifting, cleansing, all those oils. Crystals, citron, amber and yellow topaz. But there's plenty more. That's just the three that I like to work with. Yellow skin fruits and vegetables are great foods, high energy foods, complex carbs or carbs, sweet corn, lemon, bananas, you name it, all that good stuff. You know, we need carbs. I know people say, oh, I'm cutting out carbs. I'm like, are you insane? How do you function? I mean, I don't even get people that don't drink coffee, darling. I just don't understand that species of being. So, keywords. Let's think about keywords around this chakra, because this will help you to think about yourself and think about how you want to feel. And if you're lacking in that area, these are things that you can obviously write down and pin and post-it notes. So when you think about, how you want to feel, or are you feeling that? Or is your chakra balanced? And I've had a lot of you message me going, how do I actually keep these chakras balanced? All this knowledge is great, but how do I do it? So this is why I created the program. It's a self-healing, self-study guide, and it will give you the tools and tips, more tools. Tips, I'm always giving you tips on my Instagram here. This will give you real, actual activities. You'll get activities, you'll get affirmations, you'll get energy clearing techniques, energy tapping techniques, access to the podcast. Obviously, I've got the podcast here anyway, but access to me weekly. You have live Facebook. I go live once a week with live Q&A on Facebook in my Facebook group. Emails from me as well, like a separate email that I send out to my students. Extra coaching is additional. So I have a self-study program, and I have extra coaching additional for different levels of coaching, obviously depending on your budget. And I've had a lot of you contact me since listening to the podcast, and so I'm happy to speak with you and to consult with you if you're interested in going up that next level in your life and really tapping into what's possible for you. Let's get to the keywords then. Outgoing, cheerful, radiant, warm, humorous. I can be funny, Has a strong sense of self, relaxed, spontaneous, expressive. Yeah. So I look for these words in my everyday life and I think, am I cheerful? Am I being radiant enough? Am I warm? Am I outgoing? I've always been very outgoing. I've kind of like an introvert playing an extrovert most of my life. But, I think I'm getting to a place where I'm very selective. So I can be introvert depending on who you are, right? But balanced energy will be people in this, my words out today. People in balance in this chakra are on their own path of self-development. And I had a conversation the other day with a woman. She said, you know what? It's such a rare thing to see people invest in themselves. I said, yes, and isn't that sad? I don't know if sad's a very appropriate word, but I just was, well, yes, I did feel sad that people don't want to invest in themselves and develop themselves and get into personal development, self-development. It's big, it's huge, it's who you are, it's even if you're not developing your person, you're not really growing and evolving in this life. Now, I'm always looking to expand and stretch and get out of my comfort zone and set bigger goals and have bigger dreams and bigger visions, because, well, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And I'm always upping the ante a little bit in my life and wanting to achieve more. And I encourage all my queens to do the same, darlings. So, people who are balanced in this area are self-respecting. They're respectful of others. They empower others. Self-confident. Have a strong sense of personal power. Have found the path. I love that. I think that's my favourite one. But then there's some people like, well, how do I know, Rebecca? How do I know if I found the path? Well, you create the path. That's where the desires and the core feelings and the emotions in the creative chakra come to life. You really got to get to work on feelings and owning your feelings before you can really move up into this chakra and own this chakra, because it's kind of like you are what you say you are, but you are what you create, and you are what you do, and you are what you feel. And so that's why this chakra, when it's a strong sense of self, it really is a strong sense of self. And you'll be able to accept new challenges, and you'll be able to accept that life can sometimes give you some lemons. Make a gin, that's what I say. You enjoy physical activities and good food. Definitely me. Although I've been slacking since Tristan's been at home, I've been homeschooling and my son. But I'm 2018, I'm kind of back in the gym and yogaing, and I love weightlifting. I've always been really into the weightlifting. I felt so powerful in that space when I'm really just owning that and kind of feeling a bit fierce, but fierce and feminine. I love seeing strong women in the gym, bashing it out, honestly. And I'm back in that space in 2018. I'm excited for that. But yeah, balanced energy, also uninhibited, intelligent, but relaxed, chilled. People say to me, you're never uptight and you're never stressed and you're always so chilled. I'm like, any laid back, I'd be horizontal. My mum used to say it to me. But she was always uptight and she was always anxious, and I was always just the opposite. I'm a Libra, I don't dwell on things. We don't. We're pretty chilled, What happened yesterday. It's I'm over it. Shows emotional warmth, which I think is important for all us humans, to show that warmth and concern and care for others. Now that we're getting to the overactive energy, this is where it gets interesting. And I can tell you right now, people, I've been in every single chakra there is. I've been overactive and underactive in all my chakras. So I want to put that out there for you. So I want you to know where I've come from. And I want you to know, if you don't know my story, that, I lived in darkness for a very long time before I stepped into the light and became this being. And so I know what's possible for you. So if you are going through difficulties, if you're experiencing depression or anxiety, or you still seem to be stuck in that space of being in the past and being haunted by your past, and you really are worried about what other people think, and you might, we're going on to the end. We'll talk about that anyway, because we're going on to overactive and underactive energy. But I just want you to know that I've been at both ends of the spectrum. And I've been completely, totally out of alignment, and I've been in alignment, and I've gone back out of alignment very quickly. So this is where having an understanding of these chakras and how they work and how to balance them is so important, and why I'm so dedicated to getting this out there into the world And actually, it's not just for my queens. So if you're, you could be listening to this and you could be a guy, and this is just as important for you as it is for women. I only coach women, but this podcast is for anybody. I'm not limiting my knowledge to anyone, because this is knowledge that can be applied to anyone. I only specifically coach women because that's who I want to help in this life. That's my niche, and that's who I want to serve. So overactive energy, perfectionist. Now, I've definitely been that person. I'm pretty sure you can relate. We've all had that moment where we think, oh my God, I've got to look the perfect. I've got to be this. People are looking, and people are going to... even with my work, I've critiqued my work so much and stuff. I think, oh no, I'm not putting that out. It's crap and rubbish. I've recorded podcasts and deleted podcasts because I didn't think they were good. I've rewritten blogs. I've rewritten parts of my book. I've redone my makeup. I spent 2 hours doing makeup. Just silly, stupid things that just wasting time. And, stop giving a fuck. I'm reading this book at the moment. It's called The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck. And it is pretty life-changing. I'd highly recommend it. So if you're a perfectionist, that you live too much in your head and that you kind of overthink a lot of things, you could be demanding, you could be worrying all the time about things, worrying about other people as well. God, it's just such a waste of energy. I've been there, done that. Judgmental. I'm loving Gabby Bernstein's work at the moment. I mean, I've always really loved Gabby and the stuff that she does. But she's got something going on at the moment called Judgment Detox, which is really great because you can't love someone and judge them at the same time. So I think we need to choose who we're going to be and how we're going to respond to certain people and where to have discernment. Like, that energy is not for me. I'm going to walk away with love. I'm just not going to be in that energy or be in that environment or be in that space because that doesn't align with me. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, you feel the need to judge, you can always take yourself out of that space. You can hold back. Your opinion doesn't matter. You may think it does, but it really doesn't. Sometimes you just think, you know what, this is not my place to say. This is not my life. Why do I feel the need to do this? And ask yourself, if someone was judging you in a way that you judge people, how would you feel? Like, really stop and think. And this is something I've had to do a lot, and really filter a lot of the stuff that you put out there and what you say. Listen, I've made some terrible mistakes. I've said some things I cannot take back. And they've been hurtful, and I've hurt people because of my big gob and my opinions. And I've been that person, and I think we've all been that person. I think we need to get really real about and own who we are and own the BS and own the crap that we put out. And the fact that we project our insecurities and fears out onto others as well. We just, I've been in a space where I'm receiving so much negativity and judgment and you're wrong and I'm right. And, it doesn't help us as beings. It really doesn't bring us together. And I really believe that we can come together and really help each other and make the world a bit better of a place. I'm on a mission, people. Come with me. Let's spread love and light. So, that's the overactive energy in that chakra. Underactivity, depression, distrustful, lacks confidence, confused, not sure, might need constant reassurance. I'm reading this and I'm like, God, this was me. Insecure. And even 3 years ago, this was me. Jealous, worries what other people will think, and apathy. So, what do we do when we're in that space? How do we balance out our energy in this chakra when we're underactive? And getting active, getting into a movement, finding some joy, finding creativity. Writing has helped me massively. I've had to really find myself in the darkness, and creating was the only way I could get myself out of a lot of situations, was to create. Here I was in this space that I didn't really see a way out, but yet my intuition was my guide. And I knew my story was powerful. So when I got into writing The Journey to Queendom, it was more about a lot of self-healing. in that space, and a lot of releasing, because getting my story out into the world felt I didn't have shame around my story, because I did feel a lot of shame around my story. And actually, something that I'm really going to talk about on the podcast this week is words that we need to stop using for ourselves and around other people, because it really doesn't help us or them, or doesn't promote positivity, and energetically it's just not the right kind of words we should be using if we want to manifest abundance into our life. So that's something really interesting. Looking forward to sharing with you probably later on after we've got through these chakras. Getting movement is so important. Finding a hobby, finding a craft, even voluntary work if you're just stuck at home and you're depressed and maybe you don't have work. I've been in that space. Gym really helped me a lot when I wasn't making lots of money and fitness helped me, but food and fitness helped me. So I got into a really creative space. I remember the year I won the money, I was really in stepping into a higher space, although I was aware of it consciously. It was happening, and then I manifested that money at the end of the year. But everything seemed to be happening for me that year. I started getting really fit. I started going to the gym, started getting really powerful and feeling strong and feeling empowered. I had a separate, I had my Instagram, but that back then, this was 3 years ago, I probably only had I can't remember how many followers I had on my Instagram. I definitely didn't use hashtags. I don't know where all these followers came from. But then I had, my fitness page where, I was doing food and fitness and sharing recipes and talking about, I don't know, I just came out of nowhere. This person, who was she? I don't know. But she needed to be born. She needed to be born because, I needed to find something to get me out of that space of feeling shit about myself and not feeling very worthy and looking for love and not feeling that I was good enough and trying to date but not really working and not really feeling that anyone wanted me. But that year I met an amazing man. Really unexpectedly, on a plane going to Ibiza, and it was a bit like love at first sight. It was a really magical moment for me, and I don't know if he feels the same. But everything changed, I think, for me that year massively, and it wasn't just about the money. It was about how I felt about myself and how I felt about my life, and the money just came because, I started to really appreciate life and really appreciate who I was and for being here and experiencing this life, an amazing thing. So I just want you to know there's possibility for you when you really start to raise your consciousness, when you start to be aware of your own thoughts and your self-sabotaging thoughts. Common addictions, food. Too much food is not a good thing, right? So this is where we find balance. Obviously, we need it. It's important. But, people can have an addiction to food because maybe they are depressed, and maybe this chakra is linked to a lot of digestive issues and IBS and problems in your gut. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But yeah, compulsive cleaning. See, it's funny because my mum has OCD and is really let that control a lot of areas of her life. And when she'd come here to my home, she'd be like, well, the house is not clean, I'm not tidying. She'd make me feel really inadequate. I have a cleaner. So, I own the fact that I'm not the best at cleaning, because it doesn't light me up. And this is what I want you to think about. Don't do the shit that you're not excited about. Hire a cleaner, for God's sake, if it means that you don't have to do that, people will happily spend money on alcohol and cigarettes or other stuff, but the price of a cleaner coming in once a week could be life-changing. And actually that book I'm reading, The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck, she talks about clearing out her house was the first thing that started her on her journey to not giving a fuck about a lot of stuff. And I couldn't give a fuck about cleaning. There you go. Said it out loud. No, don't shame me. Illnesses. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about illnesses while we're here. We might as well. Digestive disorders, food allergies, diabetes, depression, mental and physical exhaustion, liver problems, kidneys, digestive issues around IBS and stuff like that, or you've got gastric or duodenal ulcers. The liver problems include psoriasis, I think I've said that right, hepatitis, liver cancers, hiatal hernias, gallstones, hemorrhoids, varicose veins, problems with spleen, chronic fatigue, I said, we've covered that, mental and physical exhaustion, chronic fatigue, kind of very much connected. Yes, and, well, rage when you're constantly in rage and you're angry all the time, low self-esteem, the opposite would be low self-esteem, domination, want to be dominating, timidity sometimes, yeah, so much there, so much. And so balancing this chakra is important, and there's other ways we can balance it: Tai Chi, yoga, really focusing on about how you feel about yourself. Yeah, self-esteem's a big, massive one for this chakra. And so when we are working up into the higher chakras, which we'll be getting up, we're moving up over the next 4 days. You'll understand how they're all much connected. And I want to support you on this journey in life. And so it'd be my pleasure to help you and assist you to get into alignment and to really understand who you are and the potential that you have, to make you feel good about yourself and to feel good about yourself in your everyday living, because that's what matters. You can't live for your weekends, and you can't live for your holidays, and you can't live for the bank holidays. Life is happening right now, and life is happening to you every single day. And so when we're aligned with ourselves and we're doing what we love, we'll talk a bit more about that tomorrow in the heart chakra, life becomes a pleasure, life becomes a joy, life becomes much more grace, more grace and more ease. So I'll be posting some little bit more information about the chakra as well. If you click on some links, and you can go through to my website. And also, if you're interested in working with me, I would absolutely love to work with you, of course. And you can book a consult, and we can talk a little bit more about what is involved in the program. Of course, the full Aligned and Divine program, which I created this year. I've coached many women now, and it's my pleasure to help and serve you, me showing up every day, making you aware of what's possible. Okay, well, quite a short one today, not too long, but I hope we've covered enough, and I hope you are having a lovely evening or a lovely day wherever you may be in the world. It's been my pleasure to be with you here, and thank you. I do appreciate you being here too. And, well, I'll see you tomorrow when we are talking about the heart chakra and living with love. You take care now. Bye.